Can you guys hear me? Babe, I need the computer cord.
Which computer cord?
To the Dell. Am I live? It says I'm streaming. I think I'm live. Hold on a second. I think I'm live. Just so you know. I didn't have any sound earlier. I did go live earlier.
Are you on Mr. Brando?
Yeah, I'm on Mr. Brando.
Here. That must be a major lag.
No, that's something else. That's earlier.
Oh. That must be a major lag.
They can hear you. I got the mic working out. Ah, your girl did it!
That must be a major lag.
They can hear you. I got the mic working out. Ah, your girl did it!
That must be a major lag.
They can hear you. I got the mic working out. Ah, your girl did it!
That must be a major lag.
Okay, that's the echo from my phone. So, okay, hold on. You want to go ahead and get yourself together? Up? Yeah. So while we live, we live. This is the real deal, Holyfield. Now you see what I got to go through. And it wasn't the headphones, Jose.
What headphones?
He mentioned headphones. Headphones is when people call in, but
oh.
Oh, Lord.
Was it hard to get it to work?
Shh. We'll talk about it.
It's going to be even harder with the camera, huh?
Yep. That's why I took it off.
Well, Geek Squad's going to do it, so it won't matter.
And we don't have as much view, but hey.
Oh, you mean it's camera view?
Here.
They want it split screen anyway, so it doesn't matter.
There you go.
Yeah. Y'all ready for some music?
Shoot, we 9 minutes early. That was Leroy.
Oh, y'all just want to chat for a second? Just go. We live, so just be live in effect. Oh, incoming call.
Get rid of that.
That's Lee.
Get rid of that because it's going to interfere with this.
Lee, I can't talk to you.
I know. He called me. I'll call him back.
Hang on.
You might drop. Oh. See, that's the thing.
No, somebody else is calling now.
I know. I don't know how you got this hooked up, but I guess your phone rings through here.
It should.
This streams from here and it will drop. Okay. You guys, if y'all lose your live, it's because of the calls coming in. Because I haven't perfected that.
Hello? Hey, good. How you doing, man? Yeah, I'm live. I'm setting up right now. Man, I'm telling you, bro, man, it's been terrible. I can't get nothing right.
Baby, you better start working on this.
Yeah, it is, man. You're right. But hey, man, I am live right now. I am live. Are you? Yeah, you can't hear any sound?
Yeah, you can. You can hear the sound. They can hear your phone call.
Okay, but hey, I gotta hang up with you. Do you have a question or something you want to get? Yo. Thanks, man. Thank you. All right, bye.
You guys give me a thumbs up if you can still hear the sound. Okay, everybody said it sounds good. So I'm not sure how you're gonna conduct the calls because it looks like the laptop is synced it with your phone, so it might echo. I don't know.
Oh, you put a cover up.
That's
Thumbs
all
up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
They're saying they can hear that. They're giving me the thumbs up.
Can I get 100 thumbs up for Miss BB figuring out how to go live on our new broadcast? It's not the new camera, but we're gonna work on that Wednesday. Do you need to plug this in?
It's probably so. Just give me.
We still early, y'all. So because we're practicing, y'all get a few extra minutes of everything. What's going down with y'all? This new software is pretty cool. It looks like a real studio. Y'all can't see it, but it's pretty live. Looks all like official, like you're like in a real movie studio.
Self-driving cars are really big.
Oh, Lord. Whew. Man. Won't he do it? I hate it.
Won't she do it?
I hate it when people say that. Won't she do it? I hate that.
She did it. I'm telling you, girls rule the world. Better ask Daisy. Daisy gang gang.
So I'm happy right by Daddy's feet.
The food lady didn't feed me good.
Man, y'all, so
you gonna play the music? You gonna do it?
Yeah, y'all want to get started? Give me thumbs up if y'all want to get started.
Oh, you got 5 minutes to showtime.
Man, no, Billy, good work, Miss BB. I didn't do nothing. I got frustrated with it yesterday, and I was like, to heck with this stuff. So, y'all, man, the resolution's so much better. All right, y'all. Y'all give me the thumbs up. Let's go on and get this party started the way we know how to party, right? Can somebody give me a hell yeah? Me on the killer flute. Oh. Y'all thank Miss BB, man. Man. We is really live.
I'm gonna go get my cat here.
Oh, I should have grabbed all that crap. Yes, you live. Greatest show on earth. Part of the new biggest gang. Man, if you ain't with us, you must be following us. Because you know we doing it big. Welcome to all my future 100,000aires, my millionaires, my billionaires, and for all my big T-type people, man, my future trillionaires, man, I want to say good evening. I want to say welcome to the greatest show about the favorite investment of all time. No one has touched this. No one's doing nothing like us. We're doing it way different. We're doing it on video. We're having a lot of fun doing it. Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, there's a learning curve. Yeah, that's a lot. But you know what, man? Thank God for smart people. Thank God for having a super smart wife. Because, I couldn't do that. I don't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Hola to everybody. Welcome. You guys are far too kind. We're still a few minutes early. I know, for just complication purposes, if I do a Patreon talk, it'll be on Patreon, Facebook afterwards. Real informal. Pimpin has some information he wants to leak out. You know what I mean? Let people know what time it is. A lot of people are going to tell you that there's no news out there. There's no news, B. There's no news, Mr. B. There's no news. All they're saying is, this. I'm going to tell you guys about patterns. And remember, part of your effective listening, and if anybody knows what I'm talking about, they don't teach classes about effective listening except for they do teach one. Effective listening is where you go by certain principles. And those rules, there's like 30 of them. And if anybody wants me to find the link, I can post it for you. But effective listening will not only help your personal life, it'll help your business life. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Like let the story be told. There's an 80-20 rule where you talk 20 and you listen 80. But one of the main things that when you're reading news, it's really helped me understand about the news is this one right here. Listen for patterns.
Did we do the introduction?
No, I was just chatting while you were coming in here, so I was just waiting for you.
Go ahead.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm April Beebe.
And I am Mr. Brando! And welcome to the status of the reinstatement of the Iraqi Dinar IQD chat. World news, because we talk a lot about the world. Now, again, going back to patterns. So if you guys are listening for patterns, if you're looking for things in the news that are trying to get you to your destination, remember, earlier this year, let's do a time-lapse thing real quick. Earlier this year, it was all about the elections, right? The elections were ultimately disappointing because it dragged out for 8 months out of the year, basically. They didn't get crap done, it seemed like, and then they got down to the last 4 minutes because they drugged their feet. But as they were dragging their feet, or a lot of you like to refer to as kicking the can, which they were not, they were prepping themselves to pass important laws, and they were passing important laws about the citizens and about investment, and also collecting 3-0 notes. So when I tell you guys that about their bank and liquidity, I think you got to understand having a bank full of money as a central bank is a good thing. Now, because they're a petroleum-based environment as far as as far as monetary policy is concerned, it's very fragile because the money's coming in great, but if policy changes, if the markets change, then everything can go to heck in a handbasket, right? So now that we've gone through that, now we go to the kind of the summertime. We get the naming of the last 3 ministers that we're looking for. We know the 4th minister is already named, Dr. Quasi. I've shown it to you guys 100 times. I'm tired of proving a point. But the idea is now that the ministers are in place, you had the UN come in. And I think people, I've said this a million times, I don't think people understand how important the UN is. The UN, I really believe, is one of the major gatekeepers to the whole investment. Okay? That's a bomb. You heard it from me. Matter of fact, let me get some bombs since we got new stuff here. We're going to pull out some new bombs. New bombs. The idea that the UN holds more control than what people like to give it credit is something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Remember, nothing moved until those UN sanctions were done. Nobody ever knew that the UN held sanctions over their over certain parts of their government or agriculture, even though they seemed minute. But when things did that, they got to really moving. After they did that, told them to implement Article 140, what the UN told them to do that, what happened? They basically formed a subcommittee, had stuff done, and actually paid 233 of the 500 families that needed assistance with that. Now, with that, through the whole time of the year, you guys have heard a lot of stuff about corruption. And a lot of people said, well, the Iraqi dinar will never reinstate until the Iran militia was taken care of. Well, I told you guys that was going to be taken care of. We knew that because the United States put sanctions on the Iran Revolutionary Guard. When they did that, they basically crippled Iran and crippled their guards. So they can't make money, they can't spend money, they can't move money. And believe you me, money makes the world go round. Now, during that time, if you go back to December again, I told you guys there was a list of governors that was going to come out. Al-Fayyad ended up being on the list. The hugest one of them all. And I told you, Ayayo Boyega was not a problem. The boogeyman, no problem. Nuri al-Maliki on the list. But Nuri al-Maliki's in a huge major trouble because A, his son got arrested earlier for doing some dirty stuff. And he is actually, and now the United States is personally siding for stealing that money with that general in that scam with those projects. And it's also rumored now that there is Hakeem and Nuri al-Maliki stole about $30 billion. Now, they put a number to it's important because what they lost are going to try to recover. All strengthen the reserves with assets over 120 billion dinar. Now, they don't use dollars, but I'm telling you guys now, earlier when I was in this investment, I always heard about the Iraqi Central Bank having about anywhere from 38 billion dinar to maybe at the high point 40 million. They record high hit 68 billion. They record high hit 100. Now their assets are over 120 billion. Now you say, what does that have to do with anything, Mr. Brando? Remember, a currency is only as strong as the back that banks it or the promises it holds, okay? So by those bank having a strong currency reserve center, they are doing really, really well. Now, I still want to see them change the way they function and do the auction. I think the auction, that's why you're seeing it's under investigation. They're going to change that. Or what's going to happen, the United States government's going to come through and put sanctions. They can't do no more auctions. So everything that we've thought about has happened. You're going to say, well, if everything's happened, Mr. Brando, Why hasn't the Iraqi dinar reinstated? Why? It doesn't make any sense. We're patiently waiting. Because the UN hadn't blessed it like that. They made them Article 8 compliant. They told them they can touch the donor conference money. If you read articles, they say that this province is about to get money and that, they're about to do this and they're about to do that. But nobody's actually gotten any money yet. Why? Because Kuwait is holding the money. I do believe it's going to filter through the United Nations somehow. And the United Nations is going to tell them how to spend it or be the accountant or the set of books for it. No two sets of books. So they're not going to be able to start projects and then get rid of them. So first thing on the news is, where does America draw its information to impose sanctions on Iraqi personalities? The CIA, the FBI, the U.S. National Security Services in the world. There is information that the U.S. administration gets through electronic devices in modern times. It get most of its information. So what they're basically telling you is that the three little agents out there that are out there collecting information about people they're putting under sanctions. I posted a picture about all of them. You know what I'm saying? I had Maliki. I had another guy. But I had Maliki Al-Fayyad and that guy Ryder on the list. And Ryder's a big time, you can call him a bankster in Iraq. He's a big time bankster, holds a lot of weight. But I want to see them, actually, it's a pretty picture, huh? It's really clear.
Yeah, it's good. I'm looking through my phone.
Mm-hmm. But those assets freeze property, they freeze assets, they freeze their access to money outside of the country. I do believe they can still touch the money inside of their country. And as of April 8th, Washington listed the Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization. So remember, if you've got no army, you can pay them. So they can't pay them. They can pay them in reals, but reals are worthless. They can pay them, well, they're not worthless. They just redenominated. So if they got some Taman and hyperinflation hasn't set back in Iran, which is all that's going to happen. So remember, you guys remember this. If you don't have proper infrastructure in place and you have, let's say Iraq right now, and they were in hyperinflation, cut 3 zeros off their currency. Now their currency's worth $3, right? Maybe 500 people could probably exchange their currency, and that currency would go straight back to hell in a handbasket because there's no backing to the currency. There's no policy behind it. Remember, monetary policy and fiscal policy. Monetary policy is what banks put in place to protect your money. Fiscal policy is what the government puts in place. So even if you had policy in place, there wouldn't be it'd be like, okay, do you guys understand that freedom's really not free? Freedom is only free if you have rules. So that makes it not free automatically. You see what I'm saying? So without the rules in place, I don't care if they revalued their money for $100 a dinar. We wouldn't have gotten that translation would have never reached the end consumer, which is people like myself and you. Okay? So understand where you are. Am I explaining this correctly? Are you getting this? Or are you not really listening to me? You're not really caring. It's okay if you're not.
Responding. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. I'm not looking for any type of... I was looking for a little interjection, but that's okay. So you're seeing big time articles about arrest, investigations, every other day about the auctions, about the bank, which you know is our boy Ali Al-Alaq. I told you guys, probably behind Nur al-Maliki, probably the most corrupt person in Iraq. Fayyad and him rounding out the top 3. Hakim rounding out the top 4. Holy man Hakim, man. Can you believe that he was involved in a scheme that stole $30 billion with Nur al-Maliki? Doesn't money make strange bedfellows? I mean, seriously, it's kind of weird how that wrote. You know what I'm saying? And you also see a ton about Article 140. Okay, now it says anti-corruption, Supreme Judiciary. Last week they had a big time decision by the federal court that they needed to enact Article 140. Now, a lot of Iraqi politicians have come out post then and said, no, if you activate Article 140, it's going to cause strife. We're going to go broke. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. The ones that are bitching the greatest are probably the ones that are either a little bit corrupt or mostly corrupt, if that makes sense to a lot of people. These people are not there trying to give the people any money, even though it's the Kurds. And believe you me, the Kurds are kind of like the second-class citizen of Iraq. No, I mean, it's not that the Kurds aren't honorable people. They're not good people, nothing like that. It's just that in Iraq, they're not treated like full Iraqis. You see what I'm saying? In my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that in Iraq. I don't even know that to be true. But I'm just saying that, in my opinion, the way they're treated, it's just like, man, you guys go and do your own thing. We're down here. We're going to set policy for you, but we don't really fool with you. You know what I'm saying? So Article 140 gives them a huge foothold into Iraq as a country because it establishes all those disputed areas that were equated way back in the Saddam area that displaced all the people. And it also would cure all displaced people from the ISIS war. And people don't even think about that as much. I think they think more about ISIS and less about the Saddam. But it's really, really important that they get a fixated point on that because if they do, it serves a whole bunch of people monies that are due to them in a very oil-rich and wealth-rich, mineral-rich country that could really be a donor country, not a rentier country. And all based upon them just having some fiscal restraint. You bored yet? You look bored.
It's not that I'm bored. I'm spent. You don't know what I've been through to get this going. Sorry. So, yeah. I'm listening. I'm here.
Maliki and Hakeem steal 30 billion dinars. I told you guys that. Source familiar with the promise of Basra Thursday. The value of the amounts lost by the promise because of false and useless projects in 2014. The source says, Integrity Committee of the Provincial Council recorded the existence of hundreds of false and failed projects. Remember who else held false and fake soldiers, which was a body who on the list of people that hold billions, I believe he holds around 13 billion dinar. So don't just think Nuri al-Maliki is like the worst guy. All of them stole. All of them stole money. It's just that few of them were smart enough to steal more. And now that those people have a bunch of money, they're under sanctions. It's really interesting to see because where are they going to run and hide? Maliki can't run to Iran. And that was every Maliki supporter's kind of excuse was, well, Iran's backing him. Well, Iran's under sanctions. So now Maliki and Iran are under sanctions. So what? No one's worried about either one of them in this present day or time. And they weren't worried about them before because these investigations have been ongoing for several years. Come to find out. So you got to understand when they talk about imposing sanctions upon personalities, especially like they did in Iran and Iraq, the United States is very serious at this point about taking back over the law of the land and getting everybody in check. Now, with that, about 11 or 12 ministers, I believe, are going to be under an indictment. Is that going to slow the process down? No, because the more people that you get rid of that hold security and stability for the region, the government's set. Just because you don't have ministers, as long as they have an imbalance of numbers, they can still vote on laws. Remember, I believe there's a few hundred ministers that are in the whole Iraqi parliament, but only like a couple hundred show up to vote. As long as you got like 170 votes, you can pass laws. So having 11 of them removed will not stop any reinstatement from happening. Stop listening to guru trash. Because all they do is, and over here, all they get is, because they're not making any sense. If you have 200 and, let me do the math here. How many people in Iraq parliament? Let's do a, how many people in Iraq parliament? There are 329 seats. 11 or 12 of them are up for indictment. One monkey don't stop no show. So anybody tells you that that's going to hold up the reinstatements, full of crap. They don't know how voting works. Majority rules, okay? So stop listening to gurus because all they do is, and for me, all you're going to get is, because I know the difference. Now, that was a good article. A member of Iraqi ministers may be dismissed from their positions. Wow, I just told you that. Reference issued 3 important recommendations to activate the private sector and solve problems of higher degree. Remember, the Iraqi private sector already accounts for basically 37% of what supposedly doesn't exist, okay? Now, there's this article that came out the other day from the supreme religious leader that was one of the supreme religious leaders, and he said they needed to enact or activate the Iraqi private sector. He referenced experts and specialists. And the reason why this is important is because they keep talking about enacting a sector that already carries 37%. So what they need to do is enact the private sector and get rid of the private banks and let it be free capital flow with an injection for money from stuff like the ISX and tourism and building and construction and hospitals, and actually taking the educated youth that you have, interjecting them into that platform. You would have a massive, massive, massive influx of not only your own domestic cash, but foreign reserves that were coming from around the world for help for rebuilding and reconstruction that would aid in paying back your loans, taking care of your infrastructure and budget, and also make people understand that, you know what, the dinar is actually in demand a lot more than what people are giving it true credit for. Okay? Iraq signs memorandum understanding with the United Nations for the reconstruction and recovery of liberated areas. They're going to cry while I'm dropping these bombs. The United Nations has more power than what people are giving them credit for. Don't get caught sleeping on the United Nations. The United Nations, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why, because of those sanctions they held up, the United Nations wants to see one thing. They've already told them they can enact Article 8. Now, there's something else that we need to see before they actually reverse the change of their currency. Told you about that. Oh, the Iraq had its its credit come back. It was a stable B minus. When y'all get the chance to explain how the Vietnam
Yeah, I sent you that before it disappeared because it didn't fit into the conversation.
Yeah, I can revisit that. I'm gonna do Vietnam on a Facebook rant for Patreon when we're done with Mr. Pimpe. Hold on, I lost me. Okay, now. I forgot what I was talking about. Got lost. Oh, it had a strong credit rating of a B minus. Now, the reason why I believe it wasn't a higher B plus, the reason why it got dragged down by the government spending, by even though the standby agreement. This is an interesting point. While the government of Iraq successfully implemented some reforms agreed under the IMF's 3-year standby agreement, the SBA, there are a number of reforms that are still in draft legislation awaiting a vote by Iraq's parliament. These reforms range from diversifying the sources of government revenue, i.e. improved electricity tariff, and custom collection to fiscal consolidation. Remember, we kept telling people that the electricity in Iraq, with them signing those big deals with Siemens and with GE, were only as good as them enacting them. So now that Siemens has come forward, or I believe it was GKB's come forward, they're going to actually install some type of power grid system that's going to help cool off some of the poor people. These are things that they already knew. Now, it should be noted that because they're doing something about it, it actually would have probably helped their credit rating next go around, but it has nothing to do with them reinstating their currency. It has everything to do with it being helping out with their credit, and the stronger their credit, the stronger the come out of their currency could be. Article talks about rebuilding, it talks about ISIS, it talks about the best way to finance their needs. We could go into all that, but it's only an hour show, and I don't want to bore you guys.
Have they recovered any stolen dinar yet?
They've recovered millions, billions of stolen dinar from all kinds of things, of bank heists, from people that stole it from different gangs, ISIS, everything. If they're asking if they recovered money from Maliki, no. Have they recovered money from Hakim? No. Abadi? No. These people, no. But they've recovered billions of stolen dollars out there. The Iraq Stock Exchange is going to be closed for 5 days for EID. Now, there's 2 EIDs, right, that happened in the year. There's this EID Shah or something like that, right? Shah?
There's one right after Ramadan, and then there's this one now.
EID Al-Adaha. Due to EID Al-Adaha, the market management is closed. They'll be closed from August 11th to the 15th. Now, a lot of people are going to speculate that they're going to go ahead and launch the platform for the ISX because it's a long, long weekend. ISX has already launched. For them to be international, the currency has to be international. So if you were looking at a window and saying, well, something could happen from the 11th to 15th, even though it's a holiday, it could be. But I would venture to say no, because I think that there would be some word from Georgia's ISX group if there was. Central bank, the rise of the bank has more than 100 trillion, not billion, trillion. So they're basically in US dollars about 120 billion. They're about $1.2 trillion in dinar right now, and that's awesome news. Trillion, before they had barely enough money that I never thought they could cover a reinstatement, but now, my God, they are rolling in the dough. The U.S. ambassador to Iraq talked about the sanctions put on Nouri al-Maliki, and last but not least, I told you that him and Hakim stole $30 billion. Wow, that was a lot of news, right? So right now, I'm going to open it up. You guys want to ask some questions. You guys want to talk about some stuff. I'm here for it. I live for this stuff. I'm really excited about being with you guys here under this new platform. So I bought this mattress and it came 450. Oh my God! Shout out to 4.8. Hey, at 5,000 people, I want to give away 50,000 dinar. I want to hurry up and give away 50,000 dinar before it revalues because it's gonna hurt to give you that much money. If any of y'all got any questions or anything going on, why don't we go ahead and ask them? If you want to call in at this point, call in. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Pimpe. So GCR, what happened now? What global currency reset? I don't believe in it. There'll not be a global currency reset. There will be currencies in the globe that reset. I actually know there's about 196 of them, but they're not going to reset at the same time. You'd have an economic collapse. And then, as I like to tease Pimpy about, you'd actually have your gold zombie apocalypse. GCR is a piece of legislation that was never substantiated or voted on. So please, Paris Agreement did get passed, but it's not the same thing. Okay, Carol asks us a very good question. If Iraq doesn't reinstate by October, does it behoove them to hold off until the beginning of the year? It kind of depends on where they are as far as the reserves are. If the reserves are dwindling because oil is dropping, then it would behoove them to hurry up and stop the bleeding. You see what I'm saying? If oil prices are still high by October, I have no problem thinking in my mind that it could be the first of next year. Remember, Dr. Shabibi said it, and he said it several times. I don't mind restating it. He believed that the best time to reinstate the Iraqi dinar was either during the first of the year or the middle of the year. The middle of the year is past, but they are also in a big time. Is bull good and bear bad? Which one's good?
Bullish is good. So bear is bad.
They're on a big time bear run with oil. They had been. Now it's about $60-something. You ready for my call? No, Pimpy, I'm not ready for your call. I'm not talking about Vietnamese dong right now. That's afterwards. You want to talk about Iraq? Tell hey, Pimpy, if you got something to talk about Iraq, call me. But if it's about Vietnam, no, we're going to do that on Facebook next.
Facebook or Patreon?
That's Patreon Facebook group.
Unless so they're trying to understand, because somebody asked that question. How does that work?
How does what work?
So Patreon, Facebook, you got an incoming call.
I don't know how that works. I don't understand.
Yeah, they don't either. They said Patreon, Facebook. Like, is it on Patreon or is it on Facebook?
If you're a Patreon member and you're in the Facebook group, which every Patreon member should be, then we're going to do a live in there.
Oh, okay.
I have the VIP pass. That means I get free access to everything.
Hold on, Pimpy. I got somebody else here. Hang on.
I wonder what people are hearing.
Ronald, hold on here. Ronald?
Hello? Yeah.
Hey.
Can I help you? Yeah, Mr. Brando.
Yo, what's up, man?
Pizza place. That's good. Okay, I'm sorry, wrong number.
No, Pepe, don't do that.
I'm messing around.
Good God. Don't do that, please.
Pizza.
I'm going to hang up on you, Pepe, if you keep... I'm not in the mood.
What's going on?
You're going to make me go smooth off in here today.
Mr. Brando, how you doing? You're on the TV.
I'm stressed.
What you stressed about, Gail?
Well, everybody keeps saying... Miss BB keeps stressing me off these phone calls. Huh?
Oh, I'm stressing you?
Calling from Anderson, Alabama.
Oh, that's where my dad's from.
Yeah. Did you see the news today where Iran... Roll Tide, isn't that right? Roll Tide. Where Iran seized the Iraqi tanker?
Yeah, but what...
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, but that was one thing I wanted to ask. Did the Iranian Revolutionary Guard seize that tanker, or did
yes, they did.
That was my whole question. So that was my whole point. If the Revolutionary Guard seized that tanker and not the military, that just shows you that they're not going to take swift military action against them. You see what I'm saying?
A lot of people don't know what you're saying, Mr. B. Explain to them that there is two sets of government over there, so right. They can get what's going on.
Okay, so
people don't know that.
Understand this about Iran. In Iran, there is a formal government that the world sees, right? They have a PM. They've got a president just like everybody else. They've got like all these different, what do you want to call it? Position cabinet members, just like Iraq does. But in the background, the real people that run Iran are their supreme Ayatollah and a little group of a gang of terrorists that he controls, which is called the Iran Revolutionary Guard. They're the ones that are really. There is no such thing as a deep state there. It's a very shallow state there because everything else is a facade. And then in front of you, the truth of it is, it's a nation. It's a supremacist government based upon radical.
Go ahead, say it.
No, I'm not going to say it. A radical religious views based upon things that are not Western or civilized.
They're the ones stirring up all the stuff.
Yeah, they're the ones causing all the problems and strife, and they're also the ones that are in control of most of the wealth in Iran. So that's why it was important that they put Iran under sanctions. That put a big foot in their butt. But when they put the Iran Revolutionary Guard under sanctions, it really stopped the military.
Yeah, that's big. I was going to talk about that. That on Sunday, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
That the Revolutionary Guard grabbed a hold of it. Now, why this is a little bit more important than I think people need to realize is Trump put out that red line saying, as long as they don't interfere with U.S. Related business, they're just going to stay peacefully. Now, what they did by grabbing that Iraq tanker, if it's truly an oil tanker, we're not sure 100%. Now, Iraq's saying it's an oil tanker. Iran's saying it's an oil tanker. Iraq's saying it's not. If it is, and they seized it, you can expect Trump to take action.
Right.
I think, though, this is my question is, where was that oil destined to? Does anybody know the what do you call that? It's a French word. Where it was going to, what was his destination? Like, I know Iraq was shipping oil even to places like Galveston, the refineries, to New York. It was shipping oil all over the world. My question is, was that oil of U.S. interest? If it was, I expect military action, maybe. If that oil was destined for, like, let's say, I don't know, Europe, I don't see any military action taking place.
That might change. Let me tell you why. Did you see the new agreement with Trump and the EU, which I'm not sure I'm a fan of? I'm happy for cattle ranchers. Congratulations, because cattle ranching, the business is going to increase 270%, and Trump was able to penetrate the EU market when nobody else is able to. Yeah.
Don't rah Trump. What does it have to do with Iraq? We already know he's doing a good job.
Good
for him. Good job. Huh?
I'm trying to get there.
I don't think it was U.S. interest. I think they said it was going to another country.
Okay.
Well, Iraq's saying it's not an oil tanker.
What are they saying it was?
Saying it's an oil tanker.
Pimpin', what were they saying it was then?
They're saying, I'm actually looking at the article right now. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Because that will solve a lot of that right there. Go ahead.
Anthony Black wants to know, what do you think the timeline on the dinar funds from Kuwait? I saw an article indicating a rush on those funds.
And in Basra, they said they already, you haven't seen the thumbnail, but it's a picture of war-torn Basra from a lake, and it's all bombed out. And they said that in the article that that province was going to get money specifically very soon. So here's my question. Parliament's supposedly on a holiday, right? Supposedly. We know EID starts on the 11th. When are they going to get that money? And if they do, aren't they supposed to have reinstated currency? So that recreates a whole time frame for a reinstatement if one was going to happen. I'm speculating, okay? I'm just telling you, there had to be some type of checks and balances. Now, I happen to know that Parliament, I believe still half of it's still in session right now because you see them doing all kinds of things. Weren't they supposed to close out last Thursday or last Saturday? I believe they were.
Okay, so here's what the news article's saying if you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, forget everything else about where the oil tanker is or even if it was an oil tanker.
Mm-hmm.
Where Iraq went and grabbed the ship was in maritime U.S. guarded territory.
Mm.
In other words, that's a shipping lane in which nobody should be impeding or grabbing ships or doing anything like that because the people responsible for making sure that everybody goes through there unharmed is the U.S. And so they grabbed the Iraqi ship in the maritime zone.
So I got a question. Where were the U.S. ships if that's a maritime zone? Why weren't they able to stop and foil that?
Well, you know, the military presence there is spread out pretty thin. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They're there.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, if you think about the amount of ships that go through there is enormous. Now, usually what happens is they grab ships going through the stretch of Hormuz right through there. I don't think this ship was caught there. I think this ship was caught somewhere just past that. So it's a much wider territory.
Body of water they're guarding. I got you.
Yeah. So, but it's still in the maritime area.
Someone just asked
me. As a matter of fact, the United Arab Emirates is really pissed about this, so they're getting involved as well.
And see, this is what you want ultimately as a region. You want everybody in the region to say, we're sick of Iran and their crap. We're sick of them. And we're going to turn against Iran ourselves. That's what you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Because the more that Trump gets behind him support to do something about this, the better and easier it will be. Trump don't want to go to war, don't get me wrong. But don't think for a hot second that he won't jump in there and nail specific target areas that are really detrimental to Iran, especially their nuclear facilities.
And someone just said it was diesel fuel.
Well, hopefully in a couple more months, I'm going to be a Rolex wearing, limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun.
Woo! That Ric Flair drip.
I hope you're making on out to say hi to everybody.
That Ric Flair drip. Y'all don't know about the Migos. That Ric Flair.
I got a big present for Mr. B when I get there, though. I got some days gonna love. He's got mattresses, but I got pillows.
I gotta get. You know what I'm gonna get Pimp? I'm gonna get Pimp a big old cape with diamonds on it.
Yeah, nice. Oh my God, that'd be funny.
I know the Jackson family up here in Anderson, Alabama, so I got a gift for him also.
Hey, you know that's my people. Almeida and those are my people. Those are my people for real.
Right.
Yeah. We've talked before. You know, when you talk to them, Almeida, not Miss Almeida, but you talk to like LaAngela or Kevin or any of them, shout out to my kinfolk. I tried to get them this investment, but you know how people do. Let them know that I got mad love for them, and you know I'm holding a couple bills for them when time gets right, okay?
Roger that.
Appreciate you, God. I'll talk to you later, okay?
Come out to Bama, see what kind of barbecue you got going on out there.
Margarita wants to know, when you get a chance, can you finish answering Carol's question?
Carol's question, I thought I did.
I want to add to what's going on in the Iraq thing, though.
Yeah,
things that people are not talking about.
Carol said, hold on here. Do I think it'll hold off? Okay, so no, I don't. It depends, like I said, fiscally where they are. If they're in a surplus as far as assets go and cash, they can hold out. There'd be no reason to reinstate. But I don't believe oil's going to hold. I think oil's going to dip here at the end of the year. The oil prices are going to drop. And I think that what's going to happen is oil prices aren't going to change. But what's going to happen is the demand for it's going to change. And that's going to force Iraq either to reinstate their currency to get more on a level playing field, because that's their only means right now of economic source. Because if they're still 90% heavily dependent on our oil, I don't care what anybody says. If they opened up tourism, they got some of these cities built and got some tourism going and some hotels and some hospitals, then the private sector can flow and then they can open up more. But yeah, if they don't open up in October, you might be looking at 2020. It wouldn't change me. But if you're looking at a downward spiral on oil, oh God, I could see it happening way before October. That's my opinion.
Dennis just brought up right now what I was going to talk about. Here's something that nobody seems to be talking about, and this is big. Dude, Iraq is building a military base right next to Saudi Arabia right now. How the hell are they going to afford to do that, plus pay back the loans that they're getting penalized for to the IMF without doing a rate change? They have to do the rate change. How are they going to do it? Plus, they want to add 5,000 people to their Navy that they want to put there. Well, this is big news, man.
Yeah, it's huge news, and people aren't realizing the news for what it is. There's this joke about this kid in a birthday party, right? There's one kid that's totally optimistic about everything, and there's one kid that's Debbie Downer. One kid they give a new suit to, new cake, and the other kid they put him in a room full of crap. And he's digging through the crap and digging through the crap and digging through the crap. And the doctors come back and say, "Little Johnny, why are you digging through all this crap?" He said, "With all this crap, there's got to be a pony in here." And that's what reading the news about Iraq is about. Digging through all the crap and finding a pony.
Well, I would say the military base is a damn big pony.
well, the thing is that with them, you seeing them finally putting the final crunches on the truly corrupt, the 11 plus Maliki, with them actually having a, I'd like to see them boost a little bit more military presence, like in Saudi Arabia, maybe
their own military presence.
Their own, yeah. I would love to see them do that. I agree with you. I want them to be more self-sufficient, if that makes sense.
Yes, 100%. I agree with that. And Saudi Arabia has been bending their boo-boo backwards to help them along. Mm-hmm. They really have.
They do.
Now, two big freaking other bombs that people are not talking about is this. It's not just the fact that Trump's going to drop more tariffs on September 1st on China, but people are like, well, that should be the end of the tariffs. No. What did Trump say? With that new rule now about currency manipulation, and he just now labeled China, another promise kept, by the way, by Trump, labeling China a currency manipulator. He said now an executive order that if you're labeled a currency manipulator by his administration, they had additional tariffs they could slap on you. So Trump is about to go into this swinging. I mean,
okay,
not only
Pimpe.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with Iraq?
Nah.
I'm done. Hey, Pimpe, cut it short. Cut it short. What does that have to do with Iraq? Help me out here.
It had to do with the other one.
That we're talking about that in a few minutes, so stop.
Okay.
Because I gotta say something.
My bad.
Right, you're excited, I know. But I also know what you're getting at too. What about my first two questions?
I love your post, by the way. I love that. Triggering liberals since 1999. That's funny.
Hey, caller from
I was smiling. I just wanted to notice that because I did see like an 8-minute video of Miss April staring at the screen, and I was like, "What is she doing? Is it up?
Trying to set up for this live.
Are we on?
Hey, I'll put it to you like this. I've heard all these YouTubers out here say, "Oh, this OBS is easy. This is easy. That's easy. Buy this, buy that." I bought more crap in the last 2 days to get this working that she got working just off the laptop. So I'm forever grateful for her just getting to here. Thank God for Miss BB. Thank God, because I would have done it.
Take a bow.
I want to take a sleep.
Well, go to bed. I can finish up.
Take a nap.
What? I'll let y'all do the second part. Somebody wants to know Silver Greetings. Has anybody heard of them to buy dinar from?
Silver Greetings? No, never heard of them.
Yeah, you see, silver went on a jump, and so did gold after the market started to crash, by the way.
God, why don't we talk about the market taking a huge crap today? What, 900 points lost?
Wait. But I thought we was running to the bank once the Dow hit what? 27?
I was thinking it, but I did not say it.
Somebody out there was hyping up old boy, and I'm like, oh, he's spot on. If he was spot on June 21st, we would have all been running to the bank.
I do want to say this though. Look,
because the Dow hit then.
You're going to see silver hit. What? It's already at 1645, but it's trust me when I tell you, JP Morgan is struggling to hold us down. It's about to take off. It is really about to take off. You know what
I was thinking about on the drive home today? I'm going to throw this out there.
Sure.
Throw it out there.
I don't think China is fazed by dropping their currency.
Well, and also remember this: China also devalued their currency again today.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is they're unbothered because if you notice the crypto market, what happened? Bitcoin went up.
Of course, every time China makes a move, the digital currency market moves needles. Mm-hmm. So if I was a digital currency trader, and if Ben called back in and he was like, "Hey, what about Bitcoin?" You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, "Well, I just wait for China to drop more currency or drop their currency. Then I'd buy more." Hang on real quick. We got another call here. Hang on.
But yeah, China's dumping their money into crypto.
I'm adding another caller.
Is we live?
We live.
You live. Hold on. Hang on. Let me put you in here with the rest of the crew. Alabama, you can hang up if you want to.
Y'all gonna call me back later?
No, not you, Lee. You can stay if you want.
I was like, man, my feelings.
I don't think.
No, Lee, you can stay. Alabama, I don't know if you want to keep staying. Alabama's welcome to stay, but I mean, I'm just saying. We got a new caller on the line. What's going on, caller?
Hey, what's up? Salvador from Patreon, Fat Boy on YouTube. But I got a question. When this reinstatement or when this happens, how long do you think we have until we could cash in? Because I'm on the road, so I'm scared that it'll happen, and then by the time I get back to California, that it'll something bad will happen to where I didn't have enough time. You know what I mean?
Bro.
No, that's not gonna happen.
No, bro. Listen, when they reinstate their currency, you're good to go. You're running. You're good. You're done.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
But if you feel that panicky, although we're saying don't, if you do you have a loved one in which you know can run to the bank with your funds and deposit it on your behalf? I'm saying there's nothing to worry about, but if you're that stressed.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you like this.
I do. I want to be part of like that situation.
I know, right? It's kind of like your first bar experience or your first like date or your first something super cool. Maybe your first time, I don't know, making love. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you want to be there like when it goes down. You know what I'm saying?
Of course you want to be there when it goes down. It'd be hard to lose your virginity and not be there.
Okay,
so
that's
some people have passed out.
I will say this. I will say this. For the sanctity of good, if I was traveling for business and Miss BB couldn't go, and like I knew it like reinstated, and like I knew she's like, what do I do? We have a plan in place. Everybody should have their own plan in place where they're going to take a certain amount of currency, deposit in a mutual account. We're going to change that. We're going to deposit that into our strategy, and we talk about our strategy big time on Patreon, where it's going to go so I can hold it to the second part of my strategy, and then waiting for the second part to kick in. That is all a part about your own plan. So if you haven't thought about a plan, or you haven't thought about, well, dang, what I really need to do is this or that, you need to take this time while we have limbo, and you need to plan.
Yes, great damn idea.
You need to really down. I mean,
I did my planning.
Shoot, I mean, I know how much money I need down to the dinar. Like, I need this many dinar. I need this to happen. I need that to happen.
Fat boy, carry a few notes with you on the road and just stop in at a bank.
Totally plausible.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna see for the depending on how you answered. Then I would go like based off of his answer. So
I think that would be smart. Are you a truck driver?
Yeah.
So you can still stop at a bank, right? Like if you're in another state.
Yeah.
So carry a few notes with you.
Okay, so let me ask you this question: if you're worried about tax implication, okay, if you trade in your note, the way I understand it is, and I'm not a tax person, I'm not a financial consultant. Please don't take me as one. Any information that I give you is based upon my sole knowledge, not about being true or correct. But the way I understood it, because I went and talked to my tax accountant the other day, who advised me to do a couple things that I did, is you can deposit it, but as long as you don't touch the money, you can't be charged certain capital gains on it. Now, you're going to hear all this talk about there's no capital gains, there's no this. You got to expect tax. If you're not expecting taxes, then you're not being fiscally responsible. So, expect tax. Just expect to only use the money you're going to need to use to get you to a spot where you can put it either into your whatever vehicle you're going to use to expound upon your financial being. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a good one, and I'll tune into the Facebook Live.
All right, man. Thank you, man.
Is it Facebook Live? Is that how are we doing Patreon? What happened?
Well, I mean, April said let's do. Well, we could do Facebook. It don't matter to me. I don't care. It'd be something different.
Facebook, man. Share a little bit of love. You know what
I mean? Let's do Facebook Live. It'll be fun. We could do Facebook Live.
All right.
Let's see here. Mr. Huh?
I can't tell you how many people invited me to go try barbecue in different states, so I have a feeling I'm going to have a pimpy
Winnebago
United States World Tour barbecue competition tour for reals, because I've been in Tennessee and I had their barbecue and I damn near died. It was so good. So damn good. I
really?
had barbecue from Alabama. It was good.
Good.
But my friend turned me on to some Mississippi barbecue. Oh my God, when it comes to catfish. Oh,
Okay, somebody. Okay, how do you rectify an RI when Iraq is holding 100 trillion?
How do you rectify it?
Yeah.
You simply reinstate it and based upon them holding that money in secret accounts. Hello?
Hello. Hey, it's Brando. Hey, Pepe. What's going on?
What's going down?
I'm telling you right now, I know he sells mattresses and you sell pillows, but I am not getting in nobody's trunk with a pillow with you.
Hey, you know what's funny?
On the hotel floor with you.
Can I make you laugh about something about mattresses, right? So a buddy of mine at work was like, man, Mr. Brando, what's going to happen when people find out you sell mattresses? I said, you know what? I might sell a few more mattresses.
what's going to happen.
That's all I want to do is help.
Buy that store there, Mr. D, because I have a feeling you got a lot of people that come in your direction.
I've actually had a few actual people buy mattresses.
Louisiana, one from Dallas. I got to take you up on that, man. I'm there.
Yeah.
Campy barbecue tour.
I'm going to see if I can borrow $4 million dinar from Mr. Brando so I can run for prime minister so we can make this shit happen.
In Sweden, I don't know about Sweden, man, but let's go ahead and make it happen in Iraq, you know?
I'd vote for you. I'd vote for you right now.
I'll campaign for you guys. Come on, man. Trust me, I'm the best mouth. I got you guys.
I'll come back and I'll campaign for you for 2020.
Yeah. 2024. I gotta let Trump run through. Sorry, I'm a huge Trump fan. So
all right, hold on. We got a quick question, real quick.
Okay, so Michael says, "Hello, Mr. B. I have a question about the converting of the dinar. I live in Japan and asked for the 800 numbers. Will there be a number for us for overseas?"
Yeah, there'll be a phone number. It's called your bank, and your bank will have a foreign currency division, and you'll call them and figure out the conversion process from there. But as far as there being an 800 number for you to call, if someone's going to call you and say, "Hey, do you have dinar? Meet me at this secret location." If they call you, ask them immediately where they are and how they got your phone number, because most of you did not buy your dinar from a bank. Most of you bought your dinar from an exchange currency place. Reverse yellow page that phone number, block it, go there, and notify every 3-letter agency that you know that's there, because you are being watched. Nobody knows nobody knows except for you guys where I bought my dinar. And if anybody called me from an 800 number, I'd absolutely die. I'd probably die. I'd be like, "Oh my God, they're watching me." 800 numbers are crap.
JP Morgan Chase Bank is in Japan. JP Morgan Chase Bank is one of the people that you can take your currency. You can take it now, but you get the current rate. And we already played a recording on that. Isn't that right, Mr. B? Okay,
that's absolutely right.
They have multiple Chase Bank locations in Japan. That I know for a fact.
Pepe, you been to Japan?
Oh, I mean, I was a Singapore. It's a long story. You don't want to hear about this. Back in my Navy days, but yeah, I've been to Singapore, Japan. I've been to Japan.
That's cool. I want to go to Japan.
Carrier.
All I heard is drunk, and that's the best word. But what? That's good.
No, if they call you, or if you have to call an 800 number, it's a damn scam.
Don't call it.
Yeah, I got the best 800 number for y'all to call. It's 800 pippin.
Huh.
Go right there.
And if somebody asks you how much dinar you hold, that's why I tell you guys, don't post on here how much dinar you hold. I don't care if you got 40 billion dinar. Don't put yourself readily available where these 3-letter agencies can watch you. That's why I'm real particular what I put on YouTube now. I don't tell everything on YouTube, because YouTube is actually nothing more than a watchdog for the 3-letter agencies. Look at all the rappers that get busted for showing guns and dope on their videos.
Down that conspiracy road, I gotta say, I'm feeling tinglies in weird places.
Well, I don't feel conspiracy. I just see pattern. And where I see pattern, I see them watching. And y'all, there is a dinar police out there too. And I'm telling you guys this because there's so many fakes and snakes out there that take your information and go their place with it. Trust me, everybody's being watched. But the smart ones will be the ones that prevail. Prevail means you'll get to the bank, you'll do your exchange, you'll be quiet, you'll live your life, you'll be a part of the Patreon, you'll be a part of a different thing, and your business will grow. It's just like now, there's a list of billionaires that are out there, but there's a real list of billionaires that are out there that Forbes doesn't report on.
Oh yeah, there's a list of rich people that are not on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Hey, look, we'll tell everybody, we're not going to BS you. We're not going to say dial this 800 number. We are literally going to show you walking into the bank, hey, making the deposit, smiling while we do it. You're going to hear the bank people say, okay. You're going to see the slip just so we can show, well, not all the slip.
You can show your slip, Tempe. You can show your slip.
Mine gonna say $3.95.
My happy ending was in the Philippines, not Singapore.
Oh my God!
Tempe Jr. gave me a heart attack earlier when he started posting rates.
No, okay. Can I fix that? Can I fix what happened? May I, Mr. B? Miss April, may I?
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me tell you what happened.
Whoa.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, this is what happened. So somebody sent me in my inbox, did you see this? And I said, you can't go by rumors, but if truth be told, those rates aren't too bad. They're pretty close to what I think they will be, with the exception of the dome. We'll talk about why on Facebook, okay? So when I saw that, I said, okay, but what I shared it about was to show people be careful of stuff like this. But I didn't say that. What I said was, hey, take a look at this. Yeah, you know what? This is not too far-fetched. I feel these are pretty close. And then I left it there like that. And then all of a sudden, boom, 7 billion posts on there. Then later on, I said, stop. The purpose of the post was to say, don't allow yourself to get caught up in stuff like this. Don't get me wrong again. I agree some of them are close to what I think they will be. But you need to be careful of things like this. Somehow I ended up being talked about in the world of dinar. So,
and I will...
Called me and he's like, hey, you need to see what they just posted. These are the rates, blah, blah. And I'm like, what, can we go to the bank yet? Are we rich? What the hell?
No, I didn't ever say go to the, these are the rates. I never said that.
Well, in the Pimpe's defense, Pimpe's only been involved in the dinar for maybe a year and a couple months. When people don't know the players,
Since January.
Well, January, okay, so he doesn't know TNT. He doesn't know Frank 26. He doesn't know. He met Mr. Brando by chance. I mean, he just so happened. I'm not saying to hook up with a good one, but someone that if Pimpin would have hooked up with a Frank 26 or freaking TNT Tony,
That's me.
He'd probably be a bigger asset to them because he actually does his research. He'd be more accurate. You see what I'm saying? So don't please misunderstand me when I say.
Believe me, I totally get it because I also met you by chance because I had met. All right, I do roofing.
Mm-hmm.
I met a guy. Relatively.
Where the hell are you? I need you at my house. I need to replace my freaking roof.
Wait, I'm trying to hear what he said. He was roofing it.
Got sidetracked. Go ahead.
He's like, man, I'm waiting on a phone call because we've done his roof, and I'm like, hey, does this look okay? And he's like, dude, I don't care how it looks. As soon as I get a phone call, I'm leaving. And he had told me that he was going to go move to the retirement home in Florida, around Orlando, the Villages.
He could build his own damn retirement home if he's got enough dinar.
Yeah. I thought he was waiting for a phone call from them. And he said, no, not that phone call. If you come back tomorrow, I might tell you. Okay, well, we weren't completely done yet, so we had to come back the next day anyway. He said, I'm waiting for a call because the dinar's fixing to go off. Not the dinar, it was the dong, actually. He was telling me about the dong. I didn't even know about the dinar at the time.
It's a small world, or did you guys know each other was invested in it?
I had no idea, dude. I didn't know about none of this.
You want to hear something crazy? So I've been bugging my sisters and stuff about buying dinar, right?
Pimpe!
Wait, he was telling his
Pimpe,
story.
let him finish his story.
I'm Mexican. Go ahead. I interrupt real easy.
Don't
It's
say
all
that.
right. Stop saying that.
But anyway, so I went and I bought like 1.2 million dinar.
Nice.
I went back and bought, dong, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Went back and bought 1.3. I had 2.5 million. I'm up to 6 now. And then I found out about the dong, and I'm like, whoa, that's way more expensive. And I started slow, buying 25 here, 25 there. Splurged last week and bought 100,000. So when you threw up those rates earlier, and the dinar was almost at like 4, I'm like, dude, if this goes, I'm at dang near $1 million already in dinar. And if the dong goes too, at the rate you were throwing, I'm like, that's 15. I'm like at like $18 million.
Oh yeah.
Me and Mr. Brando are gonna buy some doors, and me and you gonna buy some gold and silver.
Zombies. Go zombies.
Gold doors. Gold doors.
No, look. As far as the rates are concerned, they're not too far-fetched. I'm not trying to promote it, but I'm saying they're not too far-fetched. So, although 398 on the dinar, I don't know. The reinstatement rate is 322. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk later on about the dong in the Facebook group. Trust me, you guys are going to want to hear it. But, for the most part, that was the only one on there. I thought, well, it's a little far-fetched. You know what I mean?
Right,
but
right.
the other ones seem pretty decent.
But I also say, that if you're going to do it, if you're going to go big.
Yeah.
Don't let no 4 cents.
Go big, go home.
Do it.
I was going to share a story with you that you might get a kick out of. You ready?
Go ahead, pimp.
So I've been bugging my sisters to get some dinar and buy some dung. They just, for whatever reason, not into it. So my youngest sister's kids overheard, and she's got 7 of them. All my sisters like to bring about. They want their own football team, their own basketball team. But anyways, so what happened was my niece, her youngest daughter is 14. She said, "Uncle Lee, tell me about this." And I told her. This was about 3-4 weeks ago. What she's been doing on her paychecks, because she's working in the summer, every paycheck she grabs like 50,000 dinars. She's up to 150 right now. And so she told me about it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, just keep doing it. I'll tell you." And I preached her a little bit about it. And I said, "Wait a minute." And her mom was on the phone because she's ear hustling, and she goes, "She has 150,000 of these dinars." I go, "That's good, because once it gets reinstated, she probably gets somewhere around $500,000. And her mom's like, "Yeah, I'm rolling in the money." And she literally said, "No, she said, "No, that's my money. I need to go to college on that." And I was like, "Hey, give me out." That's what I wanted to hear. It's like, she's going to do some deposit with it. She's going to go to school.
That's all I've got now in dinar is 150,000.
14 years old. Her mom's
Man,
like,
let me tell you this.
Her mom buys it.
Caller, let me tell you this.
I'm working on it. I'm still building it up.
Let me tell you, caller, I don't care where you start. It depends on where you end with it. The dinar is just one investment, one avenue we're going to get into. But hang on, caller. Hang up. I'm going to call it. They got another caller here. Let me see who this is.
All right. All I want to say is it's enough to get me to Vegas.
Oh, yeah, it's enough. It's plenty, man. You'll be in Vegas tight.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good night.
You too now. Bye-bye. You too.
You need to let that woman...
Sorry, Heather.
I think that's WB.
She's struggling to fight them yawns.
All right, I love you, bud.
Love you, man. Y'all have a good one, okay?
You have a good one.
Caller?
Caller.
Yep, it's a live whore.
Hello, is you live? What up, Sammy D?
Sammy D.
What's up, April? Let me tell you. First of all, hold up. This is now April's Take a Google game.
Thank you, Sammy.
Let me tell you something. If it was that woman was magic, because I'm provided because of the show, everybody was talking like, "What's wrong with the show?" Is this? But you get all the credit tonight. You did a good job. Thank you. For
Thank you.
But I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Are they only using dinar now? Is that the only thing they're using?
Yes, there is no multiple currency practice in Iraq. The multiple currency practice, as described by the IMF, has been stopped. They're using the dinar solely for their purchases. We're in the best spot we could be in.
Okay, cool. Well, that's everything I needed, and it's good to see you guys tonight. And I guess I'll holler at you later when we get back to work.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks, Sammy.
All right, now. All right. Bye-bye. Well, we're in a good spot to wrap up with Sammy hanging up. I'll let April go to bed because she's tired. I'll start the Facebook Live here on YouTube in a few minutes because I can.
On YouTube?
I mean, not YouTube. On Facebook.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Have a good evening. Mr. B, when you're ready to do Facebook Live, let me know.
I will. I'll change scenes.
Because you know we got to cover that.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and cover what. If you want to join Patreon, it's www.patreon.com. When you join Patreon, we give you.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right, talk to you in a minute.
Shut up, Daisy.
Daisy, you're already on Patreon. Hush, you got your little puppy iPad over there. Look at it. Okay, you don't want to look at it no more. Okay, you just want to look at her puppy iPad.
She want to eat. That's why she barking.
When we do the Facebook, we have a Patreon group explicitly just for Patreon. We're going to go live from there, so that way it gives Miss BB a chance to go to sleep. And we're going to talk a little bit about Pempe's discovery, about U.S. Treasury and the dong. If you want to join. It's www.patreon.com/Mr. Brando. So many people have joined. Enough of you have not joined the Facebook group on Patreon. I'm telling you guys now, you guys don't have it. Go on Patreon. Hit me up, Mr. Brando.
They're hitting you up.
I know you need to be, so you should be. And I'm going to let you guys go. How do I stop this? Hit exit?
Oh, good night, you guys.
Good night. I'll see you on Patreon in a few minutes.